Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claudia Monticelli, the host of this podcast, Let's Talk Soul. And twice a month, I have guests on. And like I always say, they give us a different take on what the soul is, how to take care of the soul. Is the soul, are we souls with a meat suit, and all different kinds of aspects of what the soul is and what it is to be a soul who is incarnated. Today I'm speaking with Tim Bui he's talking to us from California. Tim, say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me on your podcast today.
A pleasure, a pleasure. Now, who is this young man? You don't have the benefit of video, but I'll tell you he's a young man. Well, I don't know. Maybe he made a pact with the devil and he's really 100 years old. All right. Tim Bui is
Ancient secrets.
Yeah, right. Secrets. Is a serial entrepreneur, which means that he just starts up things, I guess. But he'll tell us a psychonaut, whatever that may be, and he'll talk to us about that. Biohacker and practitioner of meditation, and we'll be talking to him about that. And he is also a practitioner of martial arts and has been, together with meditation, for more than 25 years. So I'm thinking, my God, if it's for more than 25 years, you must be really, it is a pact with the devil, really. Okay, so
I think meditation keeps you young.
Well, then you're really going to have to give us some pointers. Okay, so he currently leads a coaching and leadership development company called High Performance Humans. It has a mission to provide personalized, transformative personal development and leadership programs that equip people with the tools and support needed to achieve their goals and lead with purpose. Okay, this word purpose keeps coming out when we mention the soul. Now, the company's training programs strive to create a ripple effect. I like that domino effect, a ripple effect of empowerment and transformation that extends far beyond our individual clients and into the world. So you start with the one person, and the aim is to go outward like the spokes of a wheel. Okay, now I've spoken enough, Tim. Now, truly, I'm not going to ask you your age. That wouldn't be nice, because then you would have to ask me mine, and I wouldn't tell you. Okay, so have you always lived in California?
I grew up here. I was born in Hawaii, so I came here when I was like 1 or 2. So I call myself Pineapple. Grown over there and imported over here, and now I reside here to be consumed. I've lived in Northern California, which is where I happen to be today, visiting my family. But for the most part, I live in Orange County, which is a place by LA, not too far out.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there. There's lots of oceans. The mountains are only
I
hours
guess
away
we
as well.
know, but I tell everybody in my first life, I was a conference interpreter, and I worked for the State Department in the United States. And I remember today, as if it were today, the test that the State Department gave me. And interpreters usually use a note-taking technique or simultaneous interpreting. And the text was all about Hawaii and how, if I were to become an interpreter, I would have to go and bring guests to Hawaii. And it was all about plantations and pineapples. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. And I never did get to Hawaii, though.
But you still remember it, so I think you're right.
Yeah. No, I still remember it all right. Now, you say you're a serial entrepreneur, so that means that you have created several companies?
Yeah, I mean, most recently I had a couple of e-commerce companies that we sold like fitness products. We
Hmm.
built everything from like customizable vibrating foam
Yeah.
rollers all the way to like just dumbbells, weights,
Uh-huh.
like workout equipment, platforms, like everything like that. So, and
Okay, so
then
that's no
yeah, sold.
longer in existence, or does it exist still?
Yeah, they exist still.
Okay.
I sold them, so I don't operate them or I'm not involved in them personally
Okay, so you
anymore.
sold the company?
Yeah, there's two
Okay.
companies.
Oh, okay, okay. So now we're with this little baby here. And how long has this company, I guess we could call it company, yeah, high
Yeah,
performance humans. How long has it been open?
it's
Mm,
still pretty new in concept.
mm-hmm.
I've been working on it for about 3 months.
Uh-huh.
We're still in a very early stage
Uh-huh.
right now, just getting all the basically like all the training together so that I
Mm-hmm.
can transfer that training into other trainers within the
Uh-huh.
company.
Mm-hmm.
And we're having really good success with with what we're doing. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
been really it's been really cool actually, like to get
What was so
these
cool
stories from
about it?
people.
What was so interesting?
Okay, so I was just last week I was at a hot springs, very interesting
Yeah.
hot springs in the mountains. Is kind of like a nudist one, but
Yeah.
I didn't know,
In
nobody told me
California?
that coming into it.
In
Yeah,
California?
coming into it, I didn't know. So I was just like, okay, all right, this is what's happening.
Uh-huh.
And then I got a text message from a client, and he was like, hey, like I wanted to talk to you. Like, is it possible? And it's not like anything important or anything. It's just like I wanted to share something with you. I was like, yeah, like I had to like walk like 20 minutes up to get reception uphill, but it's fine. Like I'll do it. So then I go hiking and I get the reception so I can make the phone call. And he's like, "Yo, this month we just had like 100 million, or sorry, $500,000 month."
Mm.
And he's like, I'm like, I don't know what happened. Like my wife asked me, and like my friends are asking me, and like I just tell them like I woke up one day like this, but I know that it's from our work together. And he was just like,
With
he
you.
just called
He was a
me.
client.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he just called me to share,
How
how grateful
nice.
he was.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like
nice.
just like trying to like feed back into
That's
like
good.
he's just asking how I'm doing and like
Good.
trying to like what can we do
Mm-hmm.
together? What can I do for you? Or like what are some ways I can
Nice.
help you brainstorm?
Nice.
So it's just like
Yeah.
it comes back, it's like a
Yeah,
full
sure.
circle
Sure.
and the
Sure.
feedback loop is strong. So I mean
Yeah.
this is yeah, I mean I get stuff like this all the time. I just got one
So
yesterday
now
too. But
you so let's say you came to California when you were 1 or 2 years old, is that right? That,
mm-hmm.
now that means you did all your schooling in that area, in the California area, more or less.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. Um, when uh, did you start with the practice of meditation? Because,
Mm.
and maybe I didn't say it in in the introduction, but he's highly involved with meditation and swears by it, and I wanted him to talk to us about it. Maybe different
Yeah, I
kinds
haven't.
of meditation. When you started, did it happen in a time of your life that was depressing, a depressing time for you? You saw the bottom of the barrel. What? How did were you introduced to it, and what kind of meditation?
Yeah, I was introduced to it via Google.
Uh-huh.
I just looked up how to meditate. I had my first
Why?
transcendental
What made
experience when I was like
you?
12.
Oh, 12. Okay. So what happened at 12?
In that transcendental experience, or just like what was
In
going
the,
on in my life at the time.
in that experience?
Yeah. I So basically, like I was doing something called Zazen meditation, where you're counting breaths, and in this meditation, it's just you're counting to 10, and
Hmm.
an exhale and an inhale is like one and two.
Breath
And
work. Uh-huh.
so you count to 10, you reset. And what I started noticing was that my breath became slower and slower and with less air and less air. And
Hmm.
then I started to notice that it almost felt like I didn't need to breathe anymore, like a
When you
millimeter of
say
movement out of my nose.
when you say with less air, meaning
Uh,
after you exhale, you didn't inhale, or you inhaled less. Can you
it
describe that
was it
kind
was
of
just, it
breath
was
work?
slowly less and less. So like a full breath would be like that's like a really long breath, right? So
Okay.
like it would be like each one would take like a fraction off, another
Hmm.
fraction off, until slowly it was so the movement of air into my lungs and out of my lungs was so small that I could
Hmm.
barely tell that it was happening.
That you were
Almost to
breathing.
the point where I felt like I wasn't breathing anymore.
Okay.
That's what I felt like. I felt like
And
it was kind of scary. It was like I don't think I need to breathe anymore, but I'm just gonna slow down and whatever happens, happens. And I just
hmm.
slowly just
So this breath work led you to have an experience, a a transcendental experience. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, it was an out of body experience where I was just completely inside of the internal state of reality where like I held my own like say like five or six senses internally, not relating to what I could see, what I could
Hmm.
hear outside of me, but everything was inside of me. And um it was just outside of time, really, because it was outside of a sense of self. It was outside of a sense of you know any relationship to any of the outer world stuff.
Yeah.
And as soon as I had a question, the question was answered, and it would just happen instantaneously.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like a series
Give
of
me an
like, what am I
example.
doing here?
Give me an example when I had a question that
Like a
answered.
really simple question is like why am I here? What's the point of life? And it was like, the point of life is to have experience. It was just like things like that, just like really
Okay.
fast, really
Mm-hmm.
clear, and like
Mm-hmm.
just one liners. And I was just like, what is this? And
Mm-hmm.
then by the time I snap out of it, it was around like 5 p.m. So still daylight. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
got out of it, it was like 7 or 8. And it's like the sun had already gone down.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like it was only like
A few
10 or 15
seconds.
minutes. Yeah, it just felt like just, it was very hard to explain. And it still is. But I think that created a lot of problems. I think like because when you have certain types of experiences, you want to go back to them, or you kind of use
Mm.
that as like this is where
Well,
I've been.
yeah,
So let me
yeah,
just get back there,
yeah, right.
and then you
Time
go looking
travel.
for it.
That's the bitch about time travel. You just go
Yeah,
there, meet somebody. How could I get there? Right. Okay.
yeah.
Now let me go under the surface here. Who were you at 12 years old? What was going on in your life
Yeah.
before?
I think like my parents were are immigrants, and they came here. Um, I feel like they hadn't fully matured. Just I think
Mm?
coming up from like a
Immigrants
developing
from
country,
where?
from Vietnam.
Uh huh. Yeah,
Hmm.
to Hawaii and then the United States. Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Or are they
Uh,
still in Hawaii and you came over by yourself?
they're here in
Uh huh.
Sacramento, in
Okay.
California.
Okay. Yeah. And so at you knew that all your life. That didn't create any problems for you, did it?
Well, I think like because they were very focused on making money, that
Uh
we
huh.
weren't really close, my parents and I. They were just
Okay.
working a lot,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
so I was pretty much just observing them from the
Yeah.
outside,
Sure.
but also trying to figure out life on my own while conforming to their
Mm-hmm.
rules. Yeah, so it
At
was just
that
me trying to
age,
figure out
I
my
could
life.
remember myself at that age, 12,
Yeah.
13, 14, and my parents too were immigrants. We
Hmm.
settled in the New Jersey, New York area, and I
Hmm.
could remember they had these jobs, and when they were home, I could just remember them sleeping on the couch, both of them, one on one couch, one on the other couch. So when we got out of school, there was no interaction. There was it was
Hmm.
they were tired, and so
Yeah.
that's what you went through. Did you have any siblings, brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I had well like in my household I had my sister who I'm
Hmm.
here visiting now today.
Yeah,
What's going on?
I'm
Anyway,
hearing bells. Hmm.
um and we she was 1 year apart from me, but we
Ah,
were almost like rivals. So we
interesting.
weren't close. We were kind of close, but we were close like we were going through the same hell together, but we were
Yeah.
also
Okay.
rivals for attention
Uh-huh.
and for grades
So
and things like
so
that.
this was sort of that was high school. Were you in high school or the end of middle school? Right
It was like
before.
middle school
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you after this out of body
Mhm.
experience and all of that, the breath work, we were talking about meditation. Was it a hop, skip, and a jump to meditation, or were there more years of googling and understanding what to do, and because there's so many different kinds of meditation?
Yeah, there. I mean, there was a huge path to seeking for a long time. There still is. I'm always learning, always trying
Mm-hmm.
to figure out like what is another approach. I think like I've just pretty much boiled it down at this point to like two dimensions.
Uh-huh.
One is like the dimension of like insight and sort of transcendental experiences, or you could call them cities, which is like a term in Indian philosophy for like supernatural power. And
Mm-hmm.
there's another, I think, axis or dimension of just understanding the base state of consciousness without the projection of a self. And so I
Uh-huh.
think there's two axes or dimensions.
So you're
And
talking about meditation now, how you
mhm.
chose what type of meditation to do? That you're talking about
Yeah,
that. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I think like on a first principle basis, like everything, it all goes down to either of those two things. Like either one, you're seeking in your meditative aspect and you're trying to get more insight, different types of experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and that can lead to having different types of supernatural ability,
Mm-hmm.
like clairvoyance or whatever. And then there's another one, another type where you're just trying to distill the essence of your soul and who
Uh-huh.
you are. And
Mm-hmm.
so there are those, I think, two. And so like every type of meditation either leads you back to one of those avenues of self-discovery.
Okay, but there's also meditation that is not geared toward self discovery, but discovery of
Hmm.
other things and
That would be
the
the second one
awareness.
then.
Well, yeah, I guess. So why I'm trying to think how to phrase this.
Hmm.
How can meditation of the kind that you're explaining make our
Mhm.
lives better?
Well, I think there's no such thing as truth. Um,
Hmm.
so like
In what
there's nothing I
sense?
can really tell you
What do you mean
other
by?
than like objective truth,
Okay,
really. I mean, there are some objective truths, right? Like
but there.
I think everything is impermanent or something, or
Well, we are. Well, they say mathematics is not even objective, so we can basically talk about
relative
subjective
truth.
truths. Yeah.
So, but internally, there is an internal truth. Like I have my own truth, you have your own truth.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Mine doesn't apply to yours, and yours doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily apply to mine. Hey, they can, but within my own frame of reference,
Yeah.
my truth is what guides my life. And the more
Okay.
connected I am to that truth, then the
Yeah.
more clarity I can have in my life. And so with meditation, you're developing self awareness, which is the truth. Like
Uh huh.
you're key to understanding reality in a sense of truth for yourself. So I think with meditation, we are getting a peek behind the veil or the
Uh huh.
curtain or taking a look under the hood of what is
Mm-hmm.
going on in our experience. And when we take time to go behind the veil, we might bring something back into our waking state.
Uh huh.
And in that process of bringing things back, we bring back wisdom because
Mm-hmm.
like every memory, every experience without the emotional charge is just wisdom. And so when we go back behind the veil, we take these experiences that we have with us behind the veil and we come back with wisdom. And so I think it's really just this process of turning our life into wisdom so that we can be empowered by our story and everything
Mm-hmm.
that has come before that moment.
And I guess learning about it's a story, and I'm not sure how far meditation can bring you to understand the story. But you wrote to me a topic that you would like to talk about, and you wrote why we make everything harder than it needs to be. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, is this a naive topic or not? Let's see her. Go ahead. Why do we make everything harder than it needs to be?
I think there's an implicit belief that we need to work hard for making things happen, and I think that there is it within our body we have like the parasympathetic system and the
Hmm.
sympathetic system
Yeah.
and the nervous system, right? And so in Eastern, that is called the yin and the yang. And
Mm-hmm.
we in the West, we overly identify with the yang, that we
Mm-hmm.
must make everything happen. We must do everything. Otherwise, things won't happen for us.
Yeah.
I think a good example of this is in working out. Like you see a lot of people,
Yeah.
they go to the gym and they work out really, really, really hard. And then the next day they're sore. Well, like being sore the next day is just a sign that you worked out too hard, because
Yeah.
you should be sore the second day, not the first day. And so the
But
idea is that you're actually
why
getting.
you're
Mhm.
saying the why is because we were, let's say, socially uh, taught to do that. Is that what you mean? Why we make everything
In a
harder
sense,
for
it's
you to do?
it's that we feel this sense of independence and the sense of agency to the
Mm-hmm.
point where we don't understand that things come together by themselves.
Uh-huh.
So in the example of working out, you don't get stronger when you're working out. You get stronger when you're resting. When your
Uh-huh.
body is rebuilding those muscles
Yeah.
is when you're getting stronger, and those neural connections and getting rid of all the inflammation that you created.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you get strong. But people think that they get strong in the gym, and this is sort of this whole representation of this problem where you think you're getting stronger doing the work, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
The work is there to serve as a component of skill set building,
Yeah.
but the actual development of skill, the actual development of strength and resiliency, that
Yeah.
happens when you're not there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have here, I'm going to tell my audience to look for you at your website, and it's Tim Din Bui. That's TIMDINBUI.com. What will we find if we go to your website?
There's a free assessment,
Mm-hmm.
and the assessment is in one of 6 areas of life. It could be relationships, parenting,
Mm-hmm.
personal development. And it just basically tells you the three qualities that would be most important to you based on your answers
Mm-hmm.
to having more confidence and more fulfillment in life based on what you're sharing. So it just kind of breaks down based on your values and what is meaningful to you.
Mm-hmm.
What are the components of that that would be really meaningful for you to develop, and it helps you rate them. And so there you just have a direction to kind of look at life in terms of, because we have something called a reticular activating system, which
Mm-hmm.
is basically just our mind focuses on certain things. And so now that you have that information, you can see how can this experience like fulfill my need for like this quality of mine, whether that's,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something like wisdom or fun or joy or
Mm-hmm.
happiness. Like how can this experience fulfill that? And so you can come back into alignment, back into presence with whatever that experience is, knowing that that is an experience that is fulfilling you on a level that is important for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
What else will they find? They'll find a way to contact you, right? A little bit
yeah.
about you. What else is there?
Uh, I mean, there's a link to my Instagram. My Instagram has it has like free guides, breath work. We have an 8 week program for breath work. It's free as
Mm-hmm.
well. I have a lot of free things because I don't want to be like a gatekeeper of information or whatever
Mm-hmm.
was helpful for me on my journey. Like if people, they want to just figure it out by themselves, if they don't have the money or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case is, if they're a do-it-yourselfer, I want to give everybody like
Uh-huh.
the tools that they need, and I don't need to charge for it. If they want to
Uh-huh.
see me, then that's a different story. But like everything is out there. So there's worksheets that we're working on right now, but we have worksheets for the video program as well. So it's a 8 week program. You just
Uh-huh.
follow it on YouTube, and you just basically learn how to do HRV breathing to get
Mm-hmm.
in connection with the fight or flight system, and get in connection with flow state, which is something I talk about a lot as well. So there's just a
Mm-hmm.
lot of content on flow state as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and tell us a little bit about your life and the work that you do. And I hope that our paths will cross again, Tim. You have a good one.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye bye.